A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. When the Magi had departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream and said, "Rise, take the child and his mother, flee to Egypt, and stay there until I tell you. Herod's going to search for the child to destroy him." Joseph rose and took the child and his mother by night and departed for Egypt. He stayed there until the death of Herod, that what the Lord had said to the prophet might be fulfilled. "Out of Egypt I called my son." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. A spiritual writer once commented that he used to be resentful whenever he was interrupted in his work, until he realized that oftentimes interruptions were his real work. I think this is true for all of us. We are all often resentful when our plans are interrupted, and sometimes these interruptions are minor. An unexpected phone call while we're working or watching TV. But sometimes they're major, like an unplanned pregnancy that interrupts a woman's career, a situation in a family that prevents one from pursuing a dream, or a serious illness or cancer detected puts everything on hold in a person's life. Countless things, big and small, constantly change our agendas and sabotage our dreams. And we become resentful and think to ourselves, if only this hadn't happened. Now I have to wait 2 months to resume my career. Now I'll never have a chance to fulfill my dreams. I've heard people who, at the midway point of their lives, express resentment because they felt as if they had wasted half of their lives, becoming victims of circumstances that demanded their attention toward others. And now they've lost the chance to do what they really had hoped to do. But you know, the opposite is also true. Sometimes instead of resentment, there's gratitude because we realize that the interruptions, so unwelcome at the time, were really salvific and far from altering our real agenda, they were our real agenda. So in the end, instead of being a burden, these moments became a moment of grace. So let me give you a few examples. I know a couple whose unplanned pregnancy suddenly turned all their plans, economic, career, new house, upside down. Initially, they felt resentment. Later on, this unwanted interruption turned into a much wanted and loved child who helped to create in their lives a happiness that was above and beyond dwarfed at anything that might have resulted from their original plans. Or imagine this scene from the gospel. Joseph wakes up in the middle of the night, having had a dream in which an angel tells him to take the child and its mother and flee to Egypt immediately. And so he wakes up Mary and announces, "We've got to go. Pack up the child and let's leave quietly." Now, Mary undoubtedly must have had a few concerns. It seems likely she would have asked why they were in such a hurry. She might have wondered if his dream had really been a visit from an angel or was merely the result of something he ate. She might have asked about the travel arrangements. Whatever she may have initially thought, though, the fact remains from the gospel passage that Mary was willing to change her plans. She understands that being able to adapt at the most unexpected moments is often what really saves one's life. C.S. Lewis, the greatest English spiritual writer and teacher during his most productive years, was constantly interrupted by the demands of his adopted mother, who made him do all the shopping, all the housework, and above and beyond that, demanded hours of his time daily for domestic tasks. And rather than being resentful about these interruptions, he tells us he was grateful, and he believed that it was precisely these domestic demands that kept him in touch with life and instilled in him an empathy for the everyday human condition. So, as I said before, what initially is experienced as an unwanted interruption can, in the end, be our real agenda and can actually become a moment of grace. So what am I encouraging you to do? Well, to look for the hand of God in your interruptions. As baptized Christians, we must expect derailment. Christ tells Peter at the seashore, "Your life is no longer your own. Before you made a profession of love, you fastened your belt and you walked wherever you liked. But now others will put a belt around you and take you where you would rather not go." To submit to love is to be baptized, namely, to let our lives be forever interrupted. To not let our lives be interrupted is to say no to love. One of the messages Mary brings to the world in her appearances like Medjugorje and in the past to Lourdes and to Fatima is that we always be open to the mystery of God's love. Secondly, that we be willing to change. In her own words, she says, "Pray, pray, so that you will change." Mary trusted and hoped that God would always bring good things out of the unexpected interruptions in her life. Even though she didn't know the future, she did know God. I'm hoping we can say the same thing.